Let me explain something real quick, because this is where things really stop making sense. If you're innocent, why would you want people to stop asking questions? Because right now we're being told it is time to move on from the Epstein files. Weird, right? I think so. The largest elite trafficking scandal in probably the whole history of the world. And not a single powerful man has been investigated, not one. Donald Trump has been saying it's time to move on from the Epstein files. Move on. Ask yourself a basic question. Why would anyone want the country to move on from a criminal network involving billionaires, politicians, intelligence connections, and blackmail? Why would accountability be a problem? I also would have the theory that this is still going on, that maybe Jeffrey was just one of them, that this is still happening. You think they stop with their urges when Jeffrey, disappeared, got moved into witness protection? Do you think that's when it stopped? No, not at all. Now, at this time, James Comey calls Bill and Hillary Clinton to testify before Congress about their relationship with Jeffrey. They don't show. They're going to hold them in contempt. Then suddenly, Hillary says, let's stop the games. Let's do it in public. If you want to fight, James Comey, let's have it in public. You love to talk transparency. There's nothing more transparent than a public hearing, cameras on, and we will be there. Now, what that is, hey, you want to take us down, we'll take everybody down. And we know that has been pretty much the idea this entire time, that no one's going to bother anybody because they don't want to get any more heat brought onto themselves. That's not fear. That is someone saying that if this happens, everybody's getting dragged into the light. That's what it is. Now, the interesting thing, Donald Trump says something very strange. He says he likes Bill Clinton and that he hates to see him being questioned. Listen to the man himself.
President Bill Clinton, and he has to testify. We're bringing President Trump. What do you say to that?
I think they might say that, but they've already brought me. See, I've been brought. They had me indicted many times. Many times.
Not for this, okay? Let's just make that clear. Yes, you have been, but not for this.
And the president had some surprising thoughts about former President Bill Clinton.
It bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See,
Why would you be bothered if he's in the files? I was hearing for years MAGA saying Bill Clinton, because he's in the files. But now Trump hates to see him being brought in this. So if he's potentially guilty of something, should he not at least be investigated, questioned about it?
I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill Clinton.
What do you like about him?
I liked his behavior toward me. I thought he got me. He understood me. He was the one that said very famously that you don't want to run against Trump when there were 18 people. There was 18 people, including me, total. And he kept telling them, you don't want to run against.
He said he hates seeing him questioned for his relationships with Jeffrey. Now, Karen Levitt was asked the same thing. Hear her.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Yesterday, President Trump, in the NBC interview, said that it bothers me that somebody is going after Bill Clinton. That somebody is the House Oversight Chairman, James Comer, a Republican. Why is the president bothered that they're investigating Bill Clinton and his Epstein ties?
Look, I think that the president has respect for the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton. He said yesterday himself they've shared a good relationship, and that's what he was reiterating in that NBC.
Look, man, I'm just asking a simple, logical question. Why would questioning someone about Jeffrey bother an innocent person? You're in them. Let's just ask some questions. Why would transparency be a threat? The other thing I would love to see, Bill Gates was in there quite a bit. He was in there quite a bit, and he was brought up to the White House. Do you think how many times have you that voted for Trump been invited to the White House? Because I guarantee Bill Gates did not vote for Donald Trump. But he's sitting there beside Melania and Donald, eating a nice dinner. He's funding the ballroom. We know from the file release that he had serious involvement, and he had involvement after the conviction. He has been to the island. And he's now in the White House, budding up. They got actually programs running. This meeting here is talking about the programs that him and Trump are developing together in regard to vaccines at this very meeting. So they're not only eating dinner together, not questioning him, but he is being brought into the Trump administration to work on vaccinations. That's what they're talking about right there in this moment. Him and Bill Clinton would be some of the first guys I'd ask. Now if we rewind, and I could do a whole video on this, Charlie Kirk announced, because he was questioning, what's up with the files. But he did a famous podcast that morning saying Charlie Kirk says, I'm done talking about Epstein after Trump called him over the weekend. The president reportedly called up influential right-wing media personalities and asked them to pull back on their criticisms of Pam Bondi amid the continued uproar over the Epstein memos. And this is when they handed out the binders. It was supposed to be transparent, but it was information that was 5 years old. They also said that they would not bring up any more charges. This was during that time period, that week. They released a memo. That's the memo they're talking about, that there would be no new charges brought up. Okay. But Trump calling influencers himself, it's not persuasion. That's what you call pressure. Pressure. And pressure only exists when someone's afraid of momentum. Trump is asked again in the White House about, I'm going to play Joe Scarborough's segment because we're going to dissect this and just let me tell you how ludicrous the MAGA movement has gotten.
We heard that the Clintons set deposition dates to testify before the House Oversight Committee. Any reaction to that related to the Epstein?
I think it's a shame, to be honest. I always liked him. Her, yeah.
Ashamed to be asked about your involvement.
She's a very capable woman. She was better in debating than some of the other people, I will tell you that.
And then he's talking about Hillary 2016 election, complimenting her a little.
She's smart woman. I hate to see it in many ways.
President Trump just says he hates to see it that they're being brought before this committee. Now, James Comer gleefully saying they completely caved. They say, let's have this in public so you can't release clips of a deposition and make this advantageous to you or political for you. But also, Joe, as Democrats immediately have pointed out, this is good news. Thanks for the precedent, James Comer will be calling Donald Trump, whose name appears more than anyone.
More than anyone, 38,000 times. But just everything's cool.
In the Epstein files.
Yeah, and exactly. Again, it is so short. I really am.
And this guy, Joe's saying, is short-sighted. Why do we not want these people brought to justice, guys? I don't understand.
I'm really, it kind of takes your breath away. You remember when Mary?
It takes my breath away that you would not want the justice yourself. This guy, check his hard drive.
Lou Retton, like on one leg, did all that, and then she lands. You just, you take your, how could you do that, right? That's a reaction every time James Comer and this committee does something even more stupid than
says it's stupid. Dude, this is where the line in the sand came for me. Like, I know some of you guys are still wearing the hats and things. Bro, children, man. Children. Heartless people out there, really. There's what I've learned is America, even on the conservative side, is heartless human beings that just have no morality.
I think is humanly possible. And it's going to happen not only to Donald Trump, it's going to happen to Howard Lutnick.
Good. They're acting like this is a bad thing. Howard Lutnick was in there. He was his neighbor. They hung out all the time.
Get your subpoena boots on, Howard, because you're going to be going, thanks to James Comer, to the
Thanks to James Comer, who's wanting to bring stuff to light.
Hill after Democrats take control. Elon Musk.
Good. Ask him. Why were you talking about going there?
Same there. He's going to be subpoenaed by Congress because he lied about his contacts with Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump, as you said, going to be brought in because none other than Elon Musk said that Donald Trump was all over the Epstein files.
And he wasn't lying. The man was telling the truth. They're like mad about it.
That's, quote, the real reason they've not been released.
And again, true. That's why they hadn't been released, and they paid $4 million to hire people to redact.
Thank you for that, Elon Musk.
Thank you. Like sarcastic. Thank you. These people, really. Do you see what's going on in the MAGA world? These people would prefer to cover it up. Move on. Sick human beings. Sick. I'm disgusted by these people.
Man who's been nominated to be the next.
And this is the guy that Donald Trump just put in the Fed chair. Bilderberg Group. Go read Bill Cooper. Behold the Pale Horse. The Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, the Rockefellers. Go read about them. He was part of the Bilderberg Group. Also in the files. They're full in the government, in this administration.
Fed chair showed up in.
I almost think that being the Trump admin, they need to make sure that you've been in a relationship with Epstein. You've been in the files before you get the job.
The Epstein files. He's going to be called up to the Hill.
Good.
Because of James Comer, because of the President James Comer said. And Pam Bondi. I would love to hear how Pam Bondi could explain how she was Attorney General.
She's got a lot to explain.
For the state of Florida from 2011 to 2019, and she never raised a question in a serious, meaningful way about the resident of her state, Jeffrey Epstein. So, again, what James Comer has done, and really what I've been warning you Republicans all about really over the past year is when you set precedent.
I've been warning you guys. Been warning you. I'm disgusted by these people. Disgusted. Then we have a part that I want you to focus on. Todd Blanche. He's asked directly in a press conference whether the men who abuse these women will be investigated. His response, what men? Todd, we've seen the files, dude. Listen.
You said this is the end of the Epstein, of your review of the Epstein files. So just to clarify, is the public going to learn the identities of the men who abused the girls with the information that you're releasing? And if not, why not? And then I have a quick follow-up.
I mean, you just baked in an assumption into your question that I have never said, and I don't.
It ain't an assumption, Todd. We've seen the files, and we've seen the names redacted in some heinous emails that is obvious what they're talking about.
I know to be true. Is the public going to learn about men that abuse these girls? Like, what does that mean?
Oh, yeah. What are you talking about?
I mean, I don't understand what that means.
Well, I mean, they're the men who abused.
Talk to him like an idiot, because Todd obviously is.
The young women through Epstein.
Get your crayons out and draw a picture for Todd. He's a little slow.
Through
Look, we said in July.
Little slow, that guy. We all seen the files, Todd. We know the names exist. They're just redacted. It's not just you're trying to contain maybe donors, homies. Let's protect them. Again, we have Bill Gates, whose name appears repeatedly in there. Welcome into the White House. No questioning, no investigation, no accountability, just business as usual. Again, this ain't left versus right. I've been saying this. This is called class immunity. We even have Sean Ryan, who's been critical as of late. He interviewed Trump leading into the election. He said, we didn't vote you to protect each other. We voted you to protect us. Listen.
That it has proved. Watching the administration dodge it and try to hurry it up and move along. I just saw today they don't think we should The American people should be talking about this anymore. Well, I got news for you. The American people are the ones that voted you in. We're the ones that voted you in, and we told you what we wanted before your ass got in there. And you're not doing it. None of these people that we elected. It's pathetic. I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah, it is pathetic. It's extremely pathetic. We're watching people in power circling the wagons, telling us to forget, telling us to move on. Let me leave you with this. If these files had been released in the 1990s before testosterone levels dropped and people learned to accept lies as normal, there would have been all-out revolution right now. Remember when a billionaire trafficking ring was exposed and only one woman was sent to prison? And I want you to remember, they're only showing us what they want us to see. And I've noticed something. A lot of you you guys are acting real chill about being lied to and stolen from your entire lives. Good. Don't argue with me in the comments. Explain why transparency is a bad thing. Stay frosty, stay strapped, stay dangerous. Black Scout out.